gardening friends. It's now about 2:45 on July the 19th. I figured it's time for a regular update, although I should point out my phone could ring at any minute. It's just been one of those days, but let's kind of see what we can go through the update here. This is the large planter. I guess the thing to point out here on the large planter, we swing back over, hopefully without making you too dizzy. We got the water tower, we got the irrigation system that's running across and coming over here, and it's working about 75–80%. So yesterday I made the decision to ask my upstairs neighbor if she could just simply, I'm going to loan her my watering can with the sprinkler head, and she can just fill it up from her upstairs balcony up above there. My balcony comes out just a little bit more than hers, so she can basically just sort of hang over the railing and water the big planter. So I'm not going to worry about the big irrigation system. It is still there. I'm not going to disconnect it. So she can get the big one, she can also get the medium. I should say, in terms of the actual plants, so you get one flower back there, kind of right in the center of your picture. That's a nasturtium flower. I'm happy that those are kind of bouncing back now. At least I got the one flower to speak of. The tomato plant's doing beautifully. I have to keep sort of cutting it back. So basically on the far end here, we've got nasturtium is about all there is that's left on the far end, 4 quadrants there, or 4, not quadrants, 4 parts, sorry. Up front we've got the tomato on the right, we've got the tumbler tomato in the 2 middle, and you can see that one's doing quite nicely. And we've got another one we're trying to grow the yellow pear tomato here, so it's just a tiny little bud for now. Let me see if I can actually show you the irrigation system working. We'll zoom in on that, but it's not actually dripping, so that should tell you something. It's just flaky. That's why I decided to go with the upstairs neighbor. People are more reliable. The medium planter doing nicely. The big thing is the squash plant, sorry about that. And it was coming across the top there, so I decided to actually train it across to the big planter. It's come to the big planter, and now it's actually coming down a bit. So we'll see what happens with that, how much it explodes while I'm gone. We've got all the smaller planters here. Lots of bean plants doing beautifully, and even in the case of this one, which was the, and I really should have remembered this ahead of time, this is the cowpeas, and so the 4th one is popping up there. So that basically makes it 4 in each of the bean planters. The strawberry is doing nicely. There was a tiny little strawberry on there that ripened. It was absolutely delicious. The flowers in that one there, and the cucumbers are just going crazy right now. And these are supposed to be bush varieties, so it's kind of like the big ones in the front are actually shading the ones in the back. So I'm hoping I don't lose the option on the lemon cucumbers just because of that. Basil's doing nicely. Memorial planter, and sorry, I let the label turn. That's kind of disrespectful. It really isn't doing anything. I may have another way of sort of memorializing my friend. This one I think had basil in it, and I finally yanked it out. Or no, actually it was more likely the chamomile, which has just been dying off. So basil again, and I'll just kind of pan across. And there's something which you might see over in the tomato planter there. Well, let's go outside and I'll give you a better view. Okay, so here we are outside. Can you see it? Sorry, I just switched hands there. I'm trying to give you more stable video, but I have a tomato on this one little tomato plant, which is the result of cutting a branch off the bigger tomato plant and sticking it in the ground. So it's proof that that actually works and it can actually generate fruit. That's been growing for the last week or so since I noticed it. It's getting bigger and bigger. We'll see what happens. Around the outside, we've got the red flower sitting on the corner now. We got another tomato branch planted in that tiny pot there. Nothing, no fruit on that just yet. But I kind of give you the broader view of everything. And we've got the other planter down here. And let's take a look at some other stuff. The hanging planters are doing nicely. And I have this one over here which I swapped. If you watched the last episode, swapped out for one that was the planter itself was mounted on over there, but the problem was I was having trouble putting anything in the bottom and having it grow. Well, that's not completely dead yet. I continue to give it water. It might bounce back. It might survive. It'd be nice to have something. I just got to find the right spot to actually germinate these or get these plants to succeed in the bottom before I swap them back into their original location. But there you go. And going across, we got the other two. Not really the most exciting, but we got something coming up. The office planter is still alive, and the office sign that has fallen off. One more little project around here, but that's that one. And we have the planters on the back of the office building. Those are doing nicely. But I'm getting really sort of excited. You might have already seen it there. Let me come back around here and I can show you. We got more tomato plants growing out the bottom. That's doing nicely. But here's the thing that has me excited. The new planter is doing beautifully. That bush in the middle has, if not tripled, at least doubled in size. I'll show you a couple of pictures just so you can see the difference. And then just to document it, we've got another one right here, sort of a twin. There is a seed in there to grow that same bush, but that bush grew for 1.5 years before I transplanted it about 2 weeks ago. Absolutely amazing that in 2 weeks it has doubled or tripled in size. So I've got this all set up, everything's in there, it's been fertilized and watered, and you just got to keep it moist, and we should have, within a couple of weeks, that. Oh yeah, almost forgot. Built another one, just haven't given it the bottom yet. The bottom is formed, let's see if I can do this. I didn't plan ahead, but it's just cedar, except in this case I've used so much cedar on other projects, but this is the 7.5 inch wide, which if you work it out is 7.5 by 4 is 30 inches, which is the dimension of these planters. Let me put that back. But I only have the one board there. I need 3 more, which means one more 72-inch board. And I can put a bottom on this. So that'll be probably in another couple of weeks, since it took me a couple of weeks to get to building the second one. So they're kind of staggered by a couple of weeks, but there you go. Give you sort of the longer shot. That's pretty much it. The stuff on the other end really hasn't progressed much.